It's time to release my top 10 centers in this year's NBA draft. If you're subscribed, if you're a loyal subscriber here on Chat Sports, you already know I've done point guards, shooting guards, small forwards, power forwards, and now our final one before we get to the draft on November 18th. We're getting into my top 10 centers, starting off with number 10, the easiest name to say here, Omer Yurtseven from Georgetown. And Omer, you're not 7, you're 10 here on my list. Listen, I think producer Sam pointed this out best. He's Kelly Olynyk 2.0. That's kind of what he is, but he's not as good as Kelly Olynyk. He's very, very slow. He had a terrible three-point percentage in college, but he actually has a beautiful form, a form that I think will translate to the NBA, and it could make him into a stretch 5. I think he's the kind of guy you take maybe near the end of the second round, or potentially you make him a two-way player next offseason, and he develops into something. But he's probably not going to get drafted, but I do like his size and his strength. The problem is, it looks like his feet are stuck in cement, and I just don't think he's going to get drafted this year, but he's number 10, so that's where he comes in on my list. So now, that was my number 10 guy. Maybe you have somebody else you want to go with here, but who do you think is the most underrated big man in the 2020 NBA draft? Now, we're talking about centers today, but you can also go with power forwards as well. The most underrated, and you'll see my most underrated big man near the top of this list, so stay tuned a little bit longer and you'll find out just who I am talking about. Let's go to number 9, big man out of Kentucky. It's Nick Richards, a guy that plays with all the heart in the world. He hustles harder than just about anybody on the floor, and he's got great size. He has NBA-ready size. The problem is he doesn't have a lot of NBA-ready skills because he can't shoot, and when it comes down to him having to defend, he gets into foul trouble a lot, or he did so at Kentucky. Now, he's coming out as a junior, so that also hurts his draft stock a little bit, but he's a good defender. He's got good low-post strength. Much like Omer Yurtseven, he's probably going to go to the end of the second round. I do project him to get drafted 55 to 60 is maybe his range, but would not surprise me if he goes undrafted this year as well. Let's go to number 8. Speaking of underrated big men, Kaleb Wesson is a guy that I actually wanted to put higher, but because of what I saw in college, I just wasn't ready to put him there. But what I've seen in the combine, oh my good Lord. This is a guy that could become NBA ready. He's a guy that I would potentially take in the middle of the second round because there was a three-point drill during the combine. He shot 80% as a big man, and that was better than anybody that participated in the combine. Now, this doesn't include the very top of the top talent, but this still includes impressive guys like Grant Riller and even Emmanuel Quickley. He shot better than them in this drill, and he's a center. Now, another reason I like Kaleb Wesson a lot is the guy, he's a workhorse, and that's proven by the point that he's dropped 60 pounds since his freshman year. He's a thicker guy. He likes his McDoubles every once in a while, but he's dropped that weight a little bit, and it's made him an NBA-ready prospect. But the problem is, he's not that quick. He still kind of has that big man slowness to him, so that makes him an average to really poor defender at the NBA level. Now, one thing I want to make sure you guys know about is the deal going on at Fanatics. You already know. I tell you about it all the time because you need to know, because you need to get one. Chatsports.com/NBA mask. We all have to have one every single day. Literally, no matter where you go, you got to be wearing a mask, so you might as well wear one that reps your favorite team. Chatsports.com/NBA mask. Whoever your favorite team is, they have them available at Fanatics, and you can throw these in the washing machine, and then you can wash them every single day if you want to. Any kind of style, any team that you support, they have them available at chatsports.com/NBA mask. Go pick yours up today. You can get 1, packs of 2, packs of 3, or packs of 4 with our friends over at Fanatics, trying to keep you guys safe and healthy, all while repping your favorite NBA team. Now let's go to number 7 on my top 10 centers. It's Killian Tillie out of Gonzaga. Look, Killian Tillie, number 1, has one of the most fun names to say in the draft. But number 2, if he were healthy, this kid would be a lock to go in the first round. In fact, I've read that if he were healthy, he would have been one of the best players to ever come out of Gonzaga. But the problem was he had knee injuries, ankle injuries, and foot injuries all throughout college. That made him get buried on a very talented Gonzaga team this past year, and it hurt his draft stock, obviously. But if he stays healthy, if some team finds a way to keep him healthy, he's a guy that shot 40% from beyond the three-point arc. He's a good shot blocker, and he hustles as hard as anyone. Plus, he's just a smart dude. He's a guy that will come in and make the high IQ basketball play. So I like Killian Tillie a lot. If it weren't for injuries, I'd probably have him top 3 in this draft among centers, but Unfortunately, he's at number 7. Let's go number 6. Kid out of Mississippi State. It's Reggie Perry, a super athletic big man with a ton of energy. Probably second or third best rebounder in this class. The problem is he's kind of undersized. He's only 6'9", but at the end of the day, his hustle and his leaping ability kind of make up for that. I'm just not sure it's going to be able to translate to the NBA. His jump shot could be there. He has the potential. He's got a good free throw shot. Like, his free throw percentage is good, so that usually bodes well for his NBA shooting percentage. But all in all, his stretch 5 game isn't there quite yet, but I think it could get there. I got Reggie Perry coming in at 6. He'll probably go early second round, maybe end of the first. Now, the NBA draft is coming up Wednesday, November 18th. We'll be live for pick 1, 2, 3. Oh, yeah, and all the way through pick 60. So make sure you've subscribed and hit your notifications. We're going to be live an hour before the draft, and we're going to be live for hours after the draft as well. We could go all night if you guys keep the questions coming. So make sure to subscribe, turn on your notifications at youtube.com/chatsportstv. That link's right here, or you can just scroll down and hit that big red subscribe button. Let's go to number 5, the big man out of Kansas, Udoka Azubuike, one of Mitchell Renz' favorite names to pronounce on our pronunciation guide. Look, the dude is freakishly strong. He is probably one of the strongest finishers. Actually, not probably. He is one of the strongest finishers in this draft class when it comes to finishing around the post. Now, another thing that was really impressive is he's a big dude. I mean, he's 7 feet tall. He is like a thick, big dude as well. But he logged a 41-inch max vertical, which is absolutely insane for a big man. It was among the highest. Now, to put that in reference, Cassius Stanley, the freak that can jump through the roof, logged a 44-inch vertical. That was the highest at the draft combine. So Udoka Azubuike was right there. The problem is, terrible free throw shooter, and he doesn't move well on his feet. And when you're a bad free throw shooter, it means you're not going to be able to stretch the floor very much. And in today's NBA, that hurts your draft stock. I still think he gets drafted in the second round. Now, let's go one tier up, because between 4 and 5, there's a huge jump for me. And that's where I have Isaiah Stewart out of Washington. This is honestly, much like Azubuike, he is super, super strong, but his strength translated a little bit better when it came to scoring at Washington. He has great length and a great defensive mind. Like, he just knows how to time shots when they go up. He protects the rim really, really well, but he doesn't shoot the ball very well either. That's why I kind of have questions about him. His freshman year, his only year at Washington, 17 points per game, 8 rebounds, 2 blocked shots, and also finished 57% of his shots, most of those coming from around the rim. I like Isaiah Stewart a lot simply as a rim protector and kind of a backup big man. I would absolutely draft him in the first round. I think he gets drafted early 20s, maybe even late teens if some team really, really likes him. He can also play either the power forward or center position, but for the sake of my top 10 centers, I'm going to slot him in at the center position, and I'm slotting him in at number 4. Very high on Isaiah Stewart. I'd watch out for this kid. But one guy that I'm a little bit higher on is Daniel Oturu out of Minnesota. Great defender. Just an incredible defender, and really his freshman to sophomore year helped him take a huge jump and really helped him become the NBA prospect that he is now. He's a little bit raw as an offensive player, but he still scores the ball really well. He really showed that he can score the ball well in his time at Minnesota. A problem that I do have with Oturu is that when he gets the ball, he ain't going to pass it. The dude's going to shoot shots. Everybody knows that gym in the rec league that if you see him, you're not going to get the ball passed to you. That's kind of the problem with Oturu, but luckily he's a big man, so he doesn't demand the ball all that much. And you can see where his growth really came into play. Doubled his points per game, upped his rebounds to 4 more per game, blocked twice as many shots as he did his freshman year. He shot more shots and shot them more efficiently in his sophomore year. And the three-pointers, the percentage is kind of misleading. Now, he didn't take a ton either year, but freshman year he only took 0.5 per game. Sophomore year he took 1.9 per game. So a little bit better, and he was shooting 37% from 3. I'm very high on Daniel Oturu. He has all the skills of a DeAndre Ayton, just a little bit older and maybe not as high of a ceiling as him. Now we got 2 more names coming up. So before I tell you mine, I want you to tell me yours. Your best center in the draft this year. JW for James Wiseman or OO for Onyeka Okongwu. And once I give you my number 2 guy, it's going to kind of give it away. I'm interested to see who you type because you might be typing JW for James Wiseman. Sorry, but you're wrong. He's my number 2 center in this year's draft. I know a lot of people have him number 1 overall. I'm just not willing to do that. Now, I do think he's incredible. That's why I obviously have him number 2. He could be the best athlete in the entire draft class, not just among centers. He is a freakishly strong rebounder. He is freakishly strong in the post. He can handle the ball like a wing. And listen, his ability to score around the rim and his ability to rebound the ball is going to translate to the NBA immediately. But the problem is, I have 2 big problems with him. Number 1, he's not an incredible defender. He was a good defender in high school because he was bigger than everybody else, but he's not a great defender. And number 2, he can't shoot the ball all that well. Now, one guy that is an incredible defender and has a little bit of a jump shot, Onyeka Okongwu, my number 1 center in this year's draft and the big man that I would take if I were running a team. He has all the skills of a modern-day NBA big man, and he hustles harder than just about anybody in this draft, even coming out as a highly talented freshman. Now, he's a little bit undersized. He is not as big as James Wiseman. He's only 6'9", so it makes him a little bit smaller. And he has a bit of a streaky shot, but he does have a more reliable shot than James Wiseman had. It stretches out to the mid-range. Now, remember, Wiseman only played in 3 games as a freshman at Memphis. So what I wanted to do, because it's a little bit more fair, is to stack up Onyeka Okongwu's first 3 games and James Wiseman's first 3 games. If you lean Wiseman because of his numbers, simply, you're wrong because their numbers are almost identical. And Okongwu did it for an entire college season. And maybe you don't believe me. That's fine. Maybe you think I'm just hating on Wiseman. Let me get it clear. I don't hate Wiseman. I just love Onyeka Kongwu. And if you don't believe me, maybe you believe Jonathan Gavoni, who is one of the best draft scouts around the league and around media circles. He says Okongwu is a far more impactful, engaged, and versatile defender. And he possesses just as much offensive upside thanks to his soft touch, excellent hands, superior passing, strong feel, and likelihood to extend his range. Wiseman has far more impressive physical tools, yes, obviously, but Okongwu is a better basketball player. I mean, what else can I say, right? I'm just saying, I hate to say I told you so, but I told you so. And so when you see it in the NBA, don't be surprised and come back to this video and say, Jimmy, I'm sorry, you were right. Now, I still think James Wiseman's going to be incredible. I still think he deserves to be a top 3 to 5 pick in this draft class. But if I'm drafting for a center, I'm taking Onyeka Kongwu out of USC. So maybe you disagree with me, maybe you agree with me. If you agree, give me the thumbs up. If you completely disagree, that's fine. Give me a thumbs down. I'm going to live. I'm going to be okay. I'll be thumbing up my own video here because I completely believe that I am correct in this. I think these top 10 guys are pretty evenly ordered. I think you could probably mix around maybe 6 through 10, however you want. But 1, 2, 3, and 4, I think are properly ranked. So let's go back through my rankings and just kind of remind you guys of what you just saw. Number 1, don't forget Onyeka Kongwu, James Wiseman at 2, Daniel Oturu at 3. I got Isaiah Stewart out of Washington at 4. My 5th best center, Udoka Azubuike out of Kansas. Now, 6 through 10, bit of a mixed bag. These guys are probably second-round prospects like Reggie Perry, Killian Tillie at 7. Kaleb Wesson is 8. Nick Richards and Omer Yurtseven are probably the 2 guys on my list that might go undrafted, but still might be worth a look in the G League or as 2-way prospects. So look at either one. Look at all of them. Tell me what you agree or disagree with. I'm sticking with it. Onyeka Kongwu should be the first big man off the board, but I do think James Wiseman will end up getting picked first.